welcome to Working Dragon Mystic. I am Drake, and today we're going to be talking a little bit more about dragon magic, and more specifically, perhaps one of the most important aspects of dragon magic, definitely one of the most important things to the dragons themselves, and that is dynamic balance or balance. Now, in dragon magic, we always talk about how dragons are hyper focused and their whole thing is maintaining the balance, the multiversal balance. We always say the balance. Um, but perhaps we're not doing it good enough justice when we talk about balance. Because a lot of people seem to have the idea, they're trying to figure out exactly what is balance. How do I achieve balance? And I've come to realize that a lot of people are viewing balance, sorry about that, as something you do. You get there, you get it balanced, and it stays there. It stays there. So they're viewing it kind of like a level. If you ever used a level, you got to sit there and you're leveling it, and you got the little bubble, and you get the bubble in the center. Hey, that's level, right? Um, and once it's leveled, it's balanced. You're done. Move along. You have found balance in your life. That unfortunately is a inaccurate view of balance, especially when we're talking about multiversal balance. Balance is always in motion. It is always changing. It is always shifting. What is balanced at the moment will be unbalanced in the next. It, because of this, it is always in dynamic movement. It is constantly changing. It's not in the same location. It's not in the same place. It's not in the same balance. Dragons understand this. They understand this constant movement and fluctuation. They know balance is an ongoing, ever continuing thing that we work for and work in. Um, and that is a very, very, very important thing for the Dragon Magic Practitioner to understand. The Dragon Magic Practitioner needs to know that in order to work in balance, you have to understand the ever-changing chaos and shifting and motions and constant bada bing, bada boom. It's not something we do one time, we have, and we move on. It's always changing and shifting. That means today, what we do to maintain the balance in our life and reach that balance is going to be one thing. Tomorrow will be another thing. The day after that, another thing. And the events that play out day to day, the things we face, the trials, the difficulties, the stressors, the people we have to deal with, they're always going to be shifting and changing. They're not going to be static. And because of this, what we do, how we do it, how we maintain balance in our lives is going to be dynamically, um, directly and dynamically connected to those things. Um, and we have to choose to respond to the elements around us as a part of maintaining that balance in our lives. Yes, responding to those things. You can't just remove yourself from everything. So even if you just decide you're going to build a cabin, go up in the woods, and remove yourself from society entirely, you will still not escape it. You still cannot escape it. You will still have to respond and react to environmental changes, seasonal changes, um, changes in the animals moving in and throughout the area, um, food supply changes, water changes, all these things that just make up the experience of life, even if you're a full blown isolated hermit, are always in motion, always changing. You cannot remove yourself from it. That is a simple reality. We are all stuck and responsible for dealing with those ever changing aspects of the multiverse. And yes, even the multiverse itself is always in motion and changing. So even upon ascent, we are still within this dynamic change, this ever shifting, changing. And because of that, we will always be working to balance, constantly maintain balance. Now, this is very, very hard for a lot of people to get, but think about it this way. If I have a scale here, it's doing this. And I know that I need to keep it balanced. Well, the world, the multiverse, and everything going on is constantly putting things on the scale. I cannot stop them from putting things on the scale. So I have to constantly be vigilant to watch as that scale's doing this, as they're messing with the scale, so that what I put on the scale, what I do, brings it back to balance. And that is what this is. It's how do you respond to the things to maintain the balance in your life? It's always going to be changing. It's always going to be shifting. It's always going to be emotion. And the reality we know today may not be the reality we know 10 years from now. The world and life in general is going to constantly be changing. And we have to find a way to maintain that balance in ourselves, in our home, in our environment, and in our life. And it is a constant, ongoing thing that must be meditated on. And to me, that is one of the greatest benefits to my life that Dragon Magic has brought. I meditate on dynamic balance several times a week, sometimes daily. Um, and I also meditate on how it affects my life and what I can do. Because believe me, even for the best of us out there, our life's going to get screwy. Um, it's going to get chaotic, and we're going to have to find a way to rebalance it and find that balance. Whether we're sick, whether we're hurt, whether we're injured, we got to do something. And how we do that, how we respond to that is very important into finding that dynamic balance. But the first step is to understand it is a dynamic balance. It's constantly shifting and changing. It's not something that once you balance it, you're done. It's not it's not a go from point A to point B and that's it. It's not a video game that you beat the game and then you're done, you shelf it. It's an ongoing, continual, internal practice of maintaining a balance. It has to be maintained, it has to be kept up. It's a constant process. Once you understand that it is a constant process, a lot of things will happen. First off, you know there's going to be good days and there are bad days. It's going to go, you're going to have your ups, you're going to have your downs, you're going to have your ups, you're going to have your downs, and you're going to have your just, it's a day. Wasn't bad, wasn't good, just a day. And everything in that little spectrum. And you understand that. Okay, when you understand that, bad days aren't as bad because you're not caught by surprise. 90% of a bad day is we didn't want it and we block out. We literally seem to have the ability to assume bad days won't happen to us. And when they happen, we're just surprised and then upset that it happened to us. Newsflash, we're not the center of the universe. We're not the center of the world. That's your ego speaking. Happens to everybody equally. And if you understand that, and you understand that everything's always in motion, you know you're going to have your good days and you're going to have your bad days. But here's the better part. Now that we understand that, now that we apply that, now that we expect it, we're starting to pull back from the emotional reaction. And this allows us to be able to thoughtfully respond and choose how we do it. Okay. And depending on what is happening in your life will depend on how you choose to respond. And it will differ. I mean, I know a lot of times when I had to work a standard job and punch a clock, if I showed up late, I had a few options open to me. If I knew I was going to be late, I could call, hey, boss, I'm sorry, I'm traffic, car broke down, whatever it may be. I'm going to be running a little late. I'll be there as quick as I can. Or I could just show up late. Both had the pros and cons. And if I was late, then I had the option, do I just go home at my normal time or do I try to stay extra time, help out, make up for the time that they didn't have me there, or, also would help make up my pay possibly. All these little things could be done to rebalance. Was it necessarily what I wanted? No. Even if I was late to work, I wanted to leave early usually, or leave on time, not early. just didn't want to be at work, let's be honest. But what we want isn't necessarily balanced. See, sometimes we have to do the extra work to do the balance. Um, and those are the things we do need to think about. So, for example, there's been many times, many times I've been injured and down, can't keep up my normal routine. Okay, let's think about it. Okay, when my back was out, or my knees were hurt, I could barely get around the house. And it would take me a good long while to just go to the bathroom and walk across the house. It was an issue. So my normal routine is completely thrown off. It is off kilter. We have gone from this to whoop, and I have to think, what can I do to rebalance? Okay, let's look at the real situation. What is the problem? What is off kiltering it? At the time, it was an injury. It was a slow mobility. That was the problem. What steps can I take to respond to this to counterbalance the slow mobility? That was very simple. I reduced my household travel time. So I minimized everything that I would have to do as much as possible to not need to travel across the house constantly. Normally, I'm bing, 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 bing. I like to be in motion. Anyone who's ever watched me on live streams know I can't sit still. Well, most of the time on these videos, I don't sit still, even now. So I had to counter that. So it was usually make sure I have research materials near me, make sure I have things that I can work on, make sure whatever I need to do is as close to me as I can be. And when it came to like cooking and cleaning and dishes, I knew I wouldn't be able to do those as well. So I actually broke from my normal habits. Instead of cooking things that I normally would, I was eating more canned goods, SpaghettiOs and stuff. Not because, hey, SpaghettiOs are good. I mean, I like them, but it was more because I could easily eat this and then I have a spoon that basically I could wipe off and I wouldn't have to maintain a kitchen and cooking and cleaning and doing all those things. So I was rebalancing by adjusting my normal habits until I got my mobility back. Those are the kinds of things we need to consider. And those are a part of daily life. Something's going to happen. Something's going to do that. I mean, there's days where things happen. Something unexpectedly pops up. I have to deal with it. That's going to throw my schedule off. And when that happens, I have to look, okay, this thing that has to happen takes 1 to 3 hours, whatever it may be. What can I move around? What can I shift and change to rebalance this? Can I cancel an appointment? Can I not film this video? Can I skip this editing session or push this over to tomorrow? What is it that can I do to rebalance that? Those are things we have to consider. And that's what dynamic balance is. And it works in all aspects of our lives. I'm trying to give practical examples, but it does work. It does work in our lives. So even in our magic, if you notice, for example, say you're getting a little fiery under the collar, you're having a short temper, okay, rebalance that shit, man. Rebalance it. We know anger and everything deals in the fire element. So do some meditations and everything in the water element. Focus it on the calming, bring that up. But do so while also paying attention to the fire coming down to a balanced point. You can use this in your magic to even affect how you would respond to certain situations. I do this when I go visit family. I know my family has a way to get in my craw and just like rile me up. So I will do meditations to bring more calm and serenity to me, more than I would normally need because I'm about to be around my family. I'm going to need the extra to balance out their annoyance. You see? So you can even pre-balance. You can actually unbalance a scale knowing something's going to hit it that will bring it into balance. But that is it. It's always doing this, always. And the Dragon Magick Practioner seeks the wisdom and the knowledge and the understanding that only time, meditation, and experience can bring into understanding that ever-shifting balance. They seek to become a practitioner who is in control of that balance in their life, whether they pre-balance it before. They may actually be the one who unbalances it, knowing that the imbalance will later that day create the balance, or they may respond to something that unbalanced it to balance it. There's so many different ways that this can happen. It's an amazing topic. I hope this video has done something to better clarify the dynamic balance. If you have further questions or you'd like me to cover this topic more, let me know in the comments below. I do love when it comes to the dynamic balance. We may even cover it in a live stream at some point. Who knows? If you enjoy this kind of content, if you're interested in Dragon Magic, be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and you will be notified anytime we release a new video or we go live. We do live streams Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, if you're interested in Dragon Magic, check out our Dragon Magic 101 course over at workingdragonmystic.com. Click online courses. You'll see it's a full in-depth video course getting you started in Dragon Magic. It's a path working. Everything from your guardian dragon, your co-magician, directly beginning to work with the rulers, even how to develop and build a dragon magic tool to help you with the practice, with rituals, meditations, spell workings, all that included in that course, if you are interested in it. All right. And until next time, everybody, I'm Drake. This has been Working Dragon Mystic. Take care. Goodbye.